Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans. Yes. Welcome back to the Monday night mashup, the Monday night Caribbean Cricket Podcast live call-in show. It's 10:34 at night in the United Kingdom. This show cannot go for longer than 1 hour. On God, it must not go longer than 1 hour. People, welcome. Let's try to keep this one under an hour today, real life. Yes. Where's the link? Let me immediately get the link in the chat. Let me get that in the chat immediately. So what we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about today? What's happened in the last week? Let me consult my Caribbean Cricket Podcast diary. We've had the 3-match series against South Africa. We've had Jason Holder pull out of the World Cup due to injury. The Sabina Park crowd was hot. There were some performances in the South Africa series, which means that maybe the team that we thought was going to start the World Cup may no longer start the World Cup. Narine and Russell and Shafane Rutherford won IPL, so good for them. So there's been stuff to talk about. There's stuff to talk about, and of course, whatever you lot want to talk about as well. Stephen Roach is right. It's half term, so I'm not going to work tomorrow, but I still want to go to my bed. Do you not remember last week I said I've got sciatica? I think I said it, or whenever one of the last shows. Still got it, man. If anyone's got any healing tips for sciatica, please let me know, because this is serious. I'm getting old out here. Real uncle sciatica back leg pain out here. It looks like my 100-meter race against Hetty when he comes over here for the 100. Looks like I might have to pull out, because sciatica's got me down bad. Like I can barely walk, much less run. Anyways, people, what am I saying? Let's start off with the patron submissions. So what I'm supposed to do every week is I'm supposed to send into the patron group chat patrons, people who support the Caribbean Cricket Podcast financially. They get the first dibs, or they should get the first dibs on any of these live shows. So I'm just going to run to some questions that I got in that regard today. So the first one, the first one is from Errol. Errol says, what impact legacy do you want this World Cup to have for the Caribbean? What impact or legacy do you want the World Cup to have for the Caribbean? This light, can you not see this light? It's making me, this light is making me look like I'm a flipping spaceman. One time it's turning me orange, the next time, hold on people, let me live show, and I'm just doing all kinds of madnesses right now. Come, let's work with that. Yeah, so what am I saying? So what legacy do you want the World Cup to have for the Caribbean? Well, after the 2000, when was the last World Cup? Was it 2000? When did we have the last one? Was it the 2021 in 2010? I think one of the problems we've got is that the last time we had a World Cup in the Caribbean, we have a series of white elephant stadiums that serve no real purpose. We can't keep waiting. We can't keep waiting for World Cups to come around to utilize our stadia. So obviously Kensington Oval has been upgraded. Providence will have had some upgrades. Where else is getting used? St. Vincent would have had some upgrades, Arnesville, so on and so forth. And I think the legacy for the World Cup, I'm talking about off the field, has to be that we find some use for these stadiums, as in economic sustainability. This is what happens, respectfully, to what often happens to big tournaments when they're in third world countries, in that we end up, and this is possibly why Jamaica didn't want to spend any money and bid for the World Cup. You end up spending loads and loads of money, boosting up these stadia, getting the short-term economic benefit of hosting a World Cup, and then you're not getting the next World Cup for what, 14, 15, 20 years, and you end up thinking, so what did we build up the stadium for? What was its lasting impact on the nation? What are we going to use these stadiums for? So that's the legacy. LB says, allow the stadium chat. LB, you can't be from the Caribbean. And if you are from the Caribbean, then shame on you. Because at the end of the day, we have to talk about economic infrastructure and financial sustainability. Otherwise, what's the point of just having a World Cup for the sake of having a World Cup? Shame on you. So yeah, that's the legacy that we need to see develop after this World Cup. In terms of what impact, yeah, that's it. I think it answers the question, to be fair, Errol. Anybody else who comes on live, they can expand on that if they so wish. We also had a question from Charles. Charles says, how far do you see West Indies going into the going in the tournament? So this is in fact, actually, before I answer that question, Charles, sorry, Demo makes the exact point. In Jamaica, we built the Trelawney Stadium. Now, maybe people who aren't from Jamaica or who don't live in Jamaica don't understand that Trelawney Stadium that we built is now just like a pig farm. So that's a perfect example where we built something and now it has no purpose, right? And this is what I'm saying, as critical as some people have been of the JCA and the Jamaica government with regards to not bidding for the World Cup and not wanting games in the Caribbean. Look what we did the last time, building stadiums, and now we got no use for the stadiums, apart from to whole party. So anyways, going back to Charles's question. So how far do you see the West Indies going and so on? So Charles, this question, and I'm sure when people come on live, this is the one that's going to cause the biggest consternation. There are a lot of people who seemingly think that we are set to get to the semi-finals. I am still surprised at the level of confidence people are having to predict that. And maybe, and don't get me wrong, maybe we will. Maybe we'll win it. But I would say that you are a naive West Indian fan if you are expressing that level of confidence in any West Indian side. That, and let me get this straight. Not believing the West Indies team can get to the semi-final or final does not mean you're not supporting the West Indies team. I think sometimes people conflate the two as if it's like, you're not positive, you're not supporting, of course we can win this. Yeah, of course we can win this, in the same way that, of course, anybody can win this. We can all say West Indies can win the competition. I'm saying that if you're basing it on probabilities and what we tend to do as a team, I would be surprised if we win this tournament. And I think I'm just rational. The first task before we start talking about winning tournaments and getting to semi-final is get out of the group. I am still surprised that so many fans are taking New Zealand and Afghanistan, never mind Papua New Guinea and Uganda, for granted, as if it's just easy to get out the group. That's got to be the first. That's got to be the first stage and the first tick-off point before you start talking about semi-finals and winning. Can we even get out the group first? That we can have conversations about what happens next if we can get out the group. But me personally, that's all I'm focusing on. You're never going to get me predicting we can win it and we can get to this and we can get to that. I'll only start talking about that if we get out the group. And all these people saying, yeah, but we're in home conditions. We're in home conditions. That's why we're one of the favourites. What? Haven't we been playing in home conditions for the last 24 years across all formats of cricket? How comes we weren't favourites to win nothing then? So I don't even buy the home conditions thing. This is a World Cup. We're not the only team in this competition. Okay, yes, we play CPL here. We know what it's like to play in the Caribbean. That hasn't helped us win test matches. That hasn't helped us win loads of ODIs. So the notion that, oh, but we're at home, I don't buy that. I don't buy that. If you're going to say we can win because we've got momentum, yeah, I can hear that. I can hear that. There's nothing like having winning momentum. I can hear that argument, but don't give me the home conditions argument. No, I'm not listening to that. I'm sorry. In a World Cup, it's bigger than just are you playing at home and have you got momentum? The one thing that people aren't talking about is mentality. Does this team have the mentality in the do or die situations? And we don't know that. That's the thing we don't know. Everybody who's claiming we're going to do this and we're going to do that, you're just on a vibes. You're just on a vibes and you're hoping that's what's going to happen. No one knows. I don't know. You don't know. Darren Savvy doesn't know. We don't know until they're in the do or die, win or go home situations in the World Cup. That's the only time we'll actually know. We don't know what their mentality is actually saying. Can't judge World Cup mentality on bilateral series. Can't do it. I'm not doing it. You lot can do it if you want. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm waiting for the do or die. I'm waiting for the win or go home. That's when I'll know what this team is really saying. That's me personally. You lot can do what you want. You lot can say what you want, but that's me personally. But anyways, you lot can say what you want to say when you get into the chat. In it, if you got something to say, come on and say it. I saw a comment I wanted to bring up, which I wanted to address. Where is it? Where is it? It was an interesting comment. Let me see if I can find it. So Seafroy, if I said the name wrong, correct me. He said, "You're an asset to our cricket, but sometimes you're the harshest critic, I presume critic, at the same time. E.g., given our lack of success over the years, recent success should not be downplayed." Right, okay. So I assume you're saying that in relation to the fact that I said that South Africa had 7 of their players missing in this recent series. And I hear you, Seafroy. I hear that. There's quite a few people who often message me after I post up videos saying, no, you need to get behind the team. You need to be more positive. I don't even think I'm negative. I've always said it. I don't think I'm negative. I'm just realistic as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what people want me to say. South Africa had 7 legit starters not playing. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, I'm just telling you the facts. Let me list them again for those of you down the sides and out the back who didn't hear. They didn't have Adi Markram, Marco Jansen, Tristan Stubbs, Henrik Klaassen, David Miller, Shamsi, Rabada, Maharaj. In fact, that's 8 players. They didn't have 8. Those 8 players are likely to all start. Like, big up West Indies. You can only beat what's in front of you, but I have to tell you the facts. They had 8 starters missing from what you would expect to be in their actual lineup for the World Cup, and I'm just telling you the facts. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, come on, like, what do you mean to say, people? I can't hide the facts. It's like 8's a lot, you know. 8 is a lot. That's basically their team. Anyway, let me put the link in the chat. Anyone who wants to come on live, come on live. Right, so LB, this is right. So LB says, now this is quite interesting, LB, because I had a few people say to me, yeah, South Africa were missing 8, but West Indies were missing players as well. Okay, so arguably you could say West Indies were missing players, but how many of those players that West Indies were missing are definitely starting? Hetty's not definitely starting, so you take him out immediately, right? Puram will definitely start. Powell will definitely start. Alzari will definitely start. Dre will definitely start, right? That's 4. There is no guarantee that Shea Hope starts. There is no guarantee that Shafane Rutherford starts. And there is no guarantee that Shimon Hetmeyer starts. So, yeah, we were missing players, but we weren't missing 8 certain starters. We were missing 4 certain starters and 3 players who may start, possibly will be on the bench. South Africa were missing 8 certain starters. There's levels to this shit. There's levels out here. I just speak the facts. We can all get in our feelings and emotions about it. I'm just going to present the facts to people. I'm just going to present them, and you lot can deal with it how you want. But you come to this show, I'm just going to lay the facts out on the line. If you want dunce talk, there's other places you can go, But I'm just going to present the facts, and you lot can deal with it. Bounce and spin. How do I know who's starting? Because I study the game. That's how I know. Like I say, you lot want dunce talk. There's other places you can go, There's other places you can go. This ain't the channel. This really ain't the channel. And much less, have you not seen the Australia don't even have their team over here? So that warm-up game we're playing against Australia on Thursday, they've got about 10 men here, and then they're going to ask their coaches to play. Like 9, I think I've got 9 guys here, lots of whom are reserves, and then they're going to ask their coaches to play because the main guys from IPL are resting up. So if and when we beat Australia, I don't really want to hear, West Indies, we're up. Yeah, we're up. But who did we actually play? Okay, so that's why I'm saying I'm waiting for the do or die. You have to win competitive cricket games. I can't just look at these bilateral series and say it's telling me everything. I have to wait for the World Cup. And Charlie's got a good point here. This IPL, by IPL ending about 3 days before the World Cup starts, this is what happens, you see, with the world game is showing its batty hole to IPL. And this is why we're in this situation that we're in, where 3 days into 4 5 days into the World Cup, teams ain't even ready yet. Certain men are halfway across the world. Some men aren't even here yet for a lot of teams, because IPL has mashed up even international cricket. This is what happens when you don't want to twerk for money. This is what happens. Anyways, let's move, man. Let's move. Let me drink my water. Anyways, Sachin's the first one up. Sachin, let's bring Sachin on. Sorry, let me take this. How do I get? I've got Charles's question on the thing. I don't even know how to take it off. Oh, there you go. Right, okay. Let's go. Sachin. Yes, Sachin, what are you saying?
What's up, Mash? Good evening.
I'm good.
I was gonna say something else like before thing, but now that like the last 5 minutes when you're talking, West Indies fans, and you said this multiple times, we are delusional.
Okay, go on. I'm not saying nothing,
I'm not saying you said it, but I'm saying it just how it is, like how I see it. We're very delusional when it comes to West Indies cricket, because guys will see us beat South Africa and then go jump and put their neck on the line. Oh, we're gonna win the World Cup. Like, I'm not saying fans need to fans don't know what they're talking about, but they need to read into the game more. Because when we went to that 2021 World Cup, everyone said we were going to make it far with our experienced group of guys, Pollard, Bravo, Gale, and all that. Mm-hmm. But where did we end up? We didn't even make it out.
Yeah, we won 2021. We won 1 game against Bangladesh and lost the other 4 badly.
Yeah, so that's why I think going into this World Cup, there shouldn't be an expectation as to we have to make it to the final or we got to make it to the semifinals.
Do you know what? Let me read something to you. This was the team that went to the 2022 World Cup, T20 World Cup, right? Because I think this was another point that I made earlier in the week, and some people got a bit upset about it. So I just want to make this point to people, right? This is a 2022 World Cup T20 World Cup team. I'm going to say some players who were in that squad: Puran, Rovman, Johnson Charles, Brandon King. Obviously, Hetmeyer was in the squad and didn't get on the plane. Carl Mayers, Akil Hussain, Alzari Joseph, Obed McCoy, right?
Yeah.
That was 2 years ago. That team, if people forget, didn't manage to get out of the preliminary group stage. They lost to Ireland and they lost to Scotland
No, wasn't that? Yeah, that was the one that we didn't qualify, right?
Yeah, we didn't know we were there, but like you had to go through the pre-round
Qualification.
stage just to
Yeah.
get into the actual World Cup. We lost to Ireland and Scotland and only beat Zimbabwe, right? The reason why I made this point earlier in the week, or the last one of the most recent videos I did, is half of our squad that is going to 2024 was there in 2022 and didn't even get into the main stage. I'm not trying to say those players are no good. That's not the point I'm making. What I'm trying to say to people is there is a difference between winning bilateral series and then playing in the cut and thrust of competitive World Cup win or go home matches. And
Yeah.
2 years ago, the same players who we're going to 2024 with were found wanting. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, yeah.
And then I mentioned the 2023 ODI World Cup, and somebody got in the comments to one of the videos and said, Mash, why are you bringing up the ODI World Cup? It's a different format. And the point I was trying to make about the ODI World Cup, the World Cup qualifiers, is that a lot of the players who are currently in this T20 World Cup team went to Zimbabwe for the World Cup qualifiers and struggled in the cut and thrust of win or go home cricket. They crumbled under the pressure. Okay. A lot of that ODI World Cup squad is this T20 World Cup squad as well. So I'm not saying they can't do anything. That's not the point I'm making. But I am saying that evidence shows us that when we get into the competitive cut and thrust, where it's about your mentality, it's not just about your talent, it's your mentality, we've been found wanting. And that's why I'm not as confident as some other people seem to be, because I'm just waiting for what happens when it's you actually have to win now.
Yeah. And something else I want to make a point of. I want to ask you a question because you like study these squads more. Someone brought up the point today in the Discord that we won 4 of our last 5 bilateral series in T20s. The 4 that we won, how many of those did their squad was either depleted or a B team?
Okay, so I've looked back at this because there's a bit of revisionism going on in some media circles. When we went to South Africa and beat them in February, and by the way, can I just point out to people that when we went to South Africa, Darren Sammy wasn't the coach when we went to South Africa. Andre Coley was the coach of that T20 side in South Africa. So that was February last year. That South Africa side was pretty much full strength. They rotated across the 3 games. So if you look at each of the 3 T20s, that like the final T20, for example, Shamsi didn't play. So they were at full strength, but they were rotating in the matches. They were clearly experimenting. But that was a full strength South Africa squad, give or take 1 or 2 people.
Yeah.
The India series, they came with some of their talented youngsters like Tilak Verma and some of those IPL guys. Can't remember the other young bucks that they came with. Kishan, is that his name? Some of them young bucks out of IPL they came
Gill
with.
and all that.
They didn't carry Bumrah. They didn't carry some of their experienced older heads, right? We beat them 2-1. England didn't carry, well, Jofra was injured. Mark Wood didn't travel. Bairstow didn't travel. They came with a good squad, but it clearly wasn't England's elite squad. That's all you have to do is compare the England squad that was here at Christmas versus the England squad that has been picked for the World Cup, and you'll see what I mean. That some of their elite players weren't there. Yeah. Obviously, we just played South Africa, and they're down 8 of their World Cup squad in the game that we've just played against South Africa. None of that means we should take the wins away from West Indies. I don't think we should be doing that. And I maintain you can only beat what's in front of you. Yeah. But a bilateral series win, 2-1, 3-2, whatever it might be, is not the same thing as winning World Cup games. And that's where my discrepancy lies.
Yeah, and that's where I think fans, like, we look at the bilateral series win and we say, oh, we did this to this team, we did this to that team. We could go out and we could win the World Cup. We could bring it home. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, but you got to look at it and look at the past World Cups of how we played. And one thing else I was going to ask, even though Australia is missing like 6 players, do we look at that warm-up game as to solidify our World Cup 11 on Thursday?
Well, so this is a point that a lot of people haven't raised, and I'm genuinely intrigued about this. Shafane Rutherford hasn't played any competitive cricket. Obviously, he's been in the nets with KKR, but he hasn't actually played a match now in however long IPL is, 2.5 months? He's played no cricket. I don't even know if he's going to be back in time to play that Australia game because IPL only just finished. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to finish that point in a minute, Sachin. Jake says, I swear if we win the World Cup match, we'll say we won because we're in home conditions. No, Jake, I won't say that. I'll say we won because we were the best team. Jake, you ain't ready for this conversation. Right, so Sachin. What am I saying? So Rutherford hasn't played any games, right? Alzari played like 2 games at the start of IPL, hasn't played since. And I'm just... Hope and Puram were obviously rested, but they played in IPL. I'm just wondering, in particular in the case of Rutherford and Alzari, are a couple of our players coming into this undercooked? I just wonder what we're going to do here. If they don't play versus Australia, are we just going to throw them straight in for the first game or first however many games and say, well, boy, you're our first choice players. Apparently their first choice according to everyone.
Yeah.
Are they first choice even with no cricket behind them?
That's what I was thinking. Like yesterday, I was sitting and I was talking to my dad about it. With some of these guys not having playing time, does West Indies underestimate PNG and Uganda and say, okay, we're gonna use those 2 matches and say test out the team with that one warm up we have on Thursday?
I think we are. Okay, so here's me being positive because people often don't understand that I think they mistake what I'm saying for negativity. I think we'll beat Papua New Guinea and Uganda pretty easily. That's me. People think like that. I think we'll beat them pretty easily. So I think there is a strong chance we'll play people coming straight out of no cricket in essence and no match cricket. Match fit cricket and say, yeah, you know what, come, let's swap Papua New Guinea and Uganda to one side. But whether that then gets them ready for having to beat New Zealand and Afghanistan, well, that's another question altogether.
Yeah. I think that's the way we're gonna go, but they're gonna come for me in the comments again.
Yeah, come for Sachin, people. As soon as he comes off this, everyone go cook him in the comments.
As Fireball said, I think history is going to be on my side again. And we're going to underestimate one of these smaller teams. And we're going to be in for a rude awakening.
No, impossible. Impossible. There is no way. There is no way we're losing to Papua New Guinea.
Mike, remember we were in the Discord.
There is no way that we're losing to those 2.
Remember we were in the Discord and you said there is no way we're going to fail to defend 374.
But I rate Netherlands. I rate Netherlands as a team. There is no way we're losing to Uganda and Papua New Guinea. Absolutely no way. And if we do lose to Uganda and Papua New Guinea, we might as well just quit the World Cup there and then.
I don't know. With West Indies, I've learned over the years not to expect anything. So, on that note, I'll let someone else come up and have a good night, Mash.
No worries, Sachin.
And enjoy TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok. Everyone go. If you're a TikTok fan, go follow us on TikTok, people. Cheers, Sachin. Listen, people, if we lose to Papua New Guinea or Uganda, I'm burning down Caribbean Cricket Podcast. I'm going to burn the whole channel down. I will never make a video again if we lose to Uganda or Papua New Guinea. Impossible. With that, no way can we lose to those teams. Are you insane? No way. Impossible. No, I'm not having it. I'm not having it at all. Right. There was a comment earlier on that I wanted to bring up, by the way, because I found it funny when it came on the screen. Where is it? Brian Red says, "You, sir, are a bit rude." Yes, Brian, I am. I'm an abrasive individual, and you know what? I'm unapologetic about it as well. I'm not here to be anyone's friend. Well, this ain't a friendship thing. Say what I say. There's plenty of other uncles you can go listen to, you know. Like I'm not here to be say the friendship thing. I'll say what I've got to say. I'll be in Trinidad. Listen, anybody who needs to come for me, I'll be in Trinidad for the first test. Anybody who wants to clatter me round the head with a cricket bat, first test, Queen's Park Oval, I'll be there. That's when everyone can come for me. Right, okay. There was some super chats whilst this was all going on. Mike S says, since Hetmeyer actually made it into the squad and got some playing time in the IPL, he may play in front of rusty players at Rutherford. Now, this is my point, Mike. So this is what Sachin and I were just talking about. I do think people have forgotten that Rutherford's not played any cricket. Alzari's basically not played any cricket. And it's weird because Rutherford deserves to start because the form he showed in the England series means, and did he play in Australia? He must play in Australia as well, means that Rutherford deserves to start. But if you go to IPL for the whole razzmatazz and then you don't play not one match, and everybody else in the squad has either been playing these warm-up games in Nepal or they've been in the IPL, etc., Rutherford's coming in cold. So there's an argument to say Rutherford shouldn't play. He should, but there's an argument to say he shouldn't because what cricket has he played? So it doesn't mean that Hetmeyer has to come in. There's an argument to say Rutherford loses his place to Chase. And then you play Hope and Chase in the team. Now, if you play Hope and Chase, you're essentially saying that Dre and Romario have to be the finishers. Well, and Rothman Powell. That should technically be enough finishers without needing Shafane Rutherford. But obviously there'll be some people who say, well, just swap Rutherford for Hetmeyer and let Hetmeyer come in with like 11 balls to lick down. I don't know. It's an interesting point, though, Mike S. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. Zachariah, the link was in the thing. I'll put in here again. And then Sumit's put a super chat as well. Thank you for the super chat, Sumit. Sumit says, home World Cup definitely needs buzz, and the buzz can in turn help propel the home team. Yep, create more buzz. Certainly, if we look at football as an example, there's been plenty of examples in football World Cups where the buzz of being at home and knowing that you're an underdog has propelled teams to perform better than they should have done. I think South Korea in 2002, Germany. People say Germany aren't underdogs, but Germany in what World Cup was that when Italy knocked them out in the semi-final? But Germany still did better than most people expected them to. I want to say it was 2016, but I can't remember. That's when Fabio Grosso scored that brilliant goal from the edge of the penalty area. Gol di Grosso. Remember that one? Bad boy goal. Yeah, there's home advantage is supposed to do something. So I do get why people are saying it, but I just don't know if that works for the West Indies. Certainly if the crowds come out and we have a vibe like Jamaica had a vibe, then yeah, maybe it can do something and galvanize the team and galvanize the players. We'll see. Let's see how Guyana and Trinidad, let's see if they turn up in the first round and give us a vibes or not. Anyways, the rest of Sumit's point, West Indies team have got exactly where they could be. So kudos, a little positive vibes wouldn't be amiss. Yeah, Sumit, I think I just gave some positivity just then. I think I just gave some, didn't I? Thank you for those correcting me. Germany, sorry, not 2016, 2006. That's what I meant about the thing. Ramel Watkins, this podcast is so damn negative. I'm out. Bye. Later. Don't come back either. How about that? Man think I'm begging for them to be here. Leave then, innit? You're not moving like I'm your man or something. Leave then, innit? Fools. Right. Let's move on. Interesting. Rudy Latu says, watch the podcast with Michael, Morgan, and Nasser. from an outsider point of view. They think our death bowling is a weakness. Depends who plays. Certainly, if Obed gets a start, you would assume. I think we saw a lot of experimenting against South Africa. I would assume if Obed can get into the team, that he certainly takes 2 at the death. If Alzari is back in the team, you'd expect him to take. I think right now, the most likely death overs bowlers, depending on who gets in the team. But I don't know what order you want to put them in, but I'd expect it to be Alzari, Obed, Dre, Romario. Let's just say they get the final 4, although one of those 2 might get 2. And a lot of that also depends on if Obed even gets into the side. If Obed doesn't get into the side, then I'm expecting Alzari, Dre, and Romario to take the last 4 overs in whatever particular order. I'm not trusting Shamar Joseph yet to bowl any death overs. He may have to. We may have no option. But I'm not trusting him to do that just yet. You've got to go with the experience of Dre. At the end of the day, Dre and Romario and Alzari are more experienced at the international T20 level, just T20 in general, than Shamar is. So I wouldn't be entrusting that on Shamar. The fact that across the 3 games, they didn't even really give Shamar... How many death overs did Shamar get across the 3 games? Like 2? And if you weren't going to do that against South Africa, C team or B team, when are you going to do it then? Do you see where I'm coming from? Anyways, let's keep moving. Daniel Hings, super chat. You guys doing a World Cup preview? Oil up the man. Oh no, oil up the man. Then, like, what? Who's getting oiled up? What's going on? What made you come with that verse? What made you come with that verse? Anyways, Daniel, we'll do one. I'll get Santoki and I are going to record something this week. Santoki don't come on the live shows, but we'll record something this week ahead of the World Cup. And look out for our immediate reaction show. So I think Sunday we'll record something straight after the game. Who are we playing on Sunday? Is it PNG? Who are we playing? Who is it you can... Oh, it's PNG, so we'll record something after PNG. Right, let's keep moving. Who's next on the live? Sorry, it's Lewis is next. I'm coming to you, Lewis. Mike S says Shamar looked very good in the death. How many did he bowl, Mike? Was it 2 or was it 1? I think the thing is, though, he bowled the 20th, but by the time Shamar bowled the 20th, wasn't it South Africa's tail in at that point? I swear, like, they were already like 7 or 8 down. So that's why I'm saying I don't know if we can completely use that as a metric to decide if he's ready for that job yet. But ultimately, again, you can only bowl to what you can bowl to, you know. Right. Okay. Right. Let's get someone on. Lewis, let's go. Lewis, how you doing?
We did it, Marsh! We did it, mate! We won the bilateral series, mate!
Wait. I muted you. Hold on, you're gonna get this video struck off. Oh my god, YouTube gonna strike off my video. Mute your music. Mute the music. How many seconds did you get off that? About oh god, did I cut you off after 7 seconds?
Nah, mate, no, relax, mate. Hello, Marsh, how are you doing?
You can blow the vuvuzela now, though. You can blow that, though.
Okay, then, if you ask me. Hey, Marsh, how are you doing?
Wait. That wasn't a vuvuzela. What was that?
Ah, vuvuzela, mate. Of course I have one. Of course, with the...
That sounded like
Ignore it.
That sounded like a birthday party one.
I know, right? It's a birthday. We won the bilateral series, Marsh. We actually did it against South Africa C, mate. Amazing, isn't it? Absolutely outstanding work from the boys. Amazing, loved it. But Marsh, I actually don't want to talk about the World Cup or the bilateral series. Liked some of the stuff, you know. PNG coming next, lovely people. But either way, what I actually wanted to talk about, Marsh, was the marketing around this series specifically. Because Marsh, think with me, when was the last time CWI actually properly marketed a bilateral series in the Caribbean? Because I can't even remember it. If they did any of the level the marketing they did this time for the series in Jamaica, I don't even remember it because it was that long ago. Because you've probably seen it, right? For example, on Instagram, lots of videos, reels, posts by the West Indies channel on Instagram itself. We saw a lot of the players just practicing around, a lot of videos, a lot of marketing. We also saw one very interesting thing. Of course, Cricket K was there. We even saw their flag up there at Sabina. Another really interesting part of it was JCB and the CWI actually paid a couple Jamaican influencers to make some skits on let me say skits on Instagram and Twitter, some well-known ones. And really, if you saw the people in the comments talking about it, you could see them. They actually were interested in it. So
so they used from what I saw on Instagram, definitely I think it's Julie. Mango. I can't remember if that's her surname, but obviously she's well known. Oliver Samwells, who needs no introduction to anybody from the Caribbean, let alone Jamaica. He was used, and the thing is, the thing that was surprising to me when I saw all of it is that why has it taken to now to do? Why have they taken till now to do what should just be the norm, right?
That should be the standard, right?
Right, exactly. Now, as a Caribbean people, we love our vibes. No matter what island you're from or nation you're from in the Caribbean, the one thing that draws us all together is we love a party and we love our vibes. And credit where it's due to Cricket West Indies, they hyped up this 3-match series, and Cricket Cave did as well. They hyped it up as if it was something that you were supposed to be at, as if it was something you shouldn't miss. Now, my question is, if you can do it for a bilateral series against South Africa in Jamaica, granted we don't really see cricket in Jamaica as often, I now expect to see that. So after the World Cup's done, South Africa are the next team to come here, right? And they play in Trinidad.
I actually have the schedule here.
Guyana, right?
The schedule is Trinidad for the first test, Guyana for the second, then Trinidad, then we have England, Antigua, Barbados, and St. Lucia. Then at the end of the year, we have Bangladesh, Antigua, Jamaica, St. Kitts, and St. Vincent.
So I won't bother with England because we already know that England are already going to the islands that love up the English. So we can't do anything about that. All those grounds are going to be full of English people.
A lot of
exactly. So Barbados is already getting ready to play Sweet Caroline 1 million times. There's nothing we can do about that.
Expected.
What I do want to see is how Trinidad and Guyana market, or how Cricket West Indies markets the test matches in Trinidad and Guyana, and can they use a similar format to try and get more people out to a test match? It's unlikely, but let's see if they try.
Yeah, because that's the main point, right? They never even tried doing this for T20 series. So I think that the right has one thing. For example, remember when you made that video on Yaga, and one of them, I can't remember his name, was from Jamaica, of course, and he actually saw Lawrence Monroe playing. And one thing he said was that when the West Indies were playing in the Caribbean, you knew it because you had to wait an entire year. There was no television or radio or nothing, so you had to wait for your day to watch those players playing and just hope they play it well and whatever else. I think CWI still, even then in the 21st century, thinks that people will just turn up regardless. They don't need to know, right? The people just know that there will be a test match. The people will just know there's a bilateral. They just weren't putting the effort on to bring in the people. And shockingly, somehow, people still came to the stadiums. Do you remember in 2021 when we got that test against England in Grenada? Remember the turnout? That wasn't didn't fill the entire stadium, of course, but people still showed up because Grenada doesn't get any games very usually.
It was more than I expected.
Yeah, exactly. And that's my main point, because now, as I said about the schedule, St. Vincent is finally getting a game. The last time St. Vincent got a game, big up anyone from St. Vincent, was in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. Was that long ago? 2012, of course. Annos Valley wasn't that. I don't. Did Annos Valley have floodlights in 2012? I don't remember. But either way, the stadium is basically completely renovated. In Grenada, Queen's Park, and Windsor Park in Dominica are getting renovated. And I think CWI even said in one of their statements that the Windward Islands, right, St. Vincent, Grenada, and Dominica should be getting more games next year. So, do you believe, Mash, that we are about to see in the couple next years that maybe most test matches series now will probably move around the Caribbean a bit more? Because before we usually only had Trinidad and Guyana, maybe Barbados if England's playing, and Antigua. But now I can see them trying some other stuff because we have a lot of test stadiums um, available in the Caribbean. It's not like we're missing any stadiums for playing test matches. So, do you think moving forward we are seeing more games in places like Grenada, Dominica? We've seen it last year two, one in Dominica. But even then, do you think, for example, Australia, two tests next year, where do you think they're playing?
I
For example,
actually know this already.
Oh, you know that? Oh, that's nice. I want to know that.
1 second, bear with me.
No, no problem.
Let me just find it. I've actually been told, but they haven't announced it yet. So let me give an exclusive to the people.
No, that's nice.
1 second. Bear with me. Okay, so Australia is scheduled to be in. Sorry, people, is scheduled to be. Oh no, tell a lie. No, they've taken it out. So the people who what I will tell you though, actually, so they haven't decided the venues. I thought they had. They haven't. What I will tell people though is that in 2025 we play Pakistan. We have 2 test matches in Pakistan in January.
Yeah.
Then in February we have 3 ODIs in Afghanistan. So straight after that Pakistan tour, we go to Afghanistan. Although where that will be played, who knows? And
probably
then
in the UAE.
You'd assume so.
Probably,
and then in May, for those that I don't know who's listening and who's in Europe, but in May we have 3 ODIs and 3 T20s in Ireland.
Oh no.
And that's for the full West Indies team whilst the IPL is going on. So that'll be some kind of whoever's not in the IPL will play in that. So 3 ODIs, 3 T20s in Ireland, and then in June 3 T20s and 3 ODIs in England. And then Australia turn up. So I'll find out. I'll give an exclusive next Monday as to where that is. But fundamentally, though, your point is valid, which is that once you've had a post World Cup, or once you've had a World Cup, there is no excuse to then not move the cricket around the region. The only point I'll disagree with you on that is that England, to my understanding, England insist that games in the Caribbean are held in Barbados, Antigua, and then whatever else after that. So there won't be any moving about, generally speaking, for England.
Okay. I can see that.
Always get first dibs on England, and maybe St. Lucia as well. But everybody else, there's no excuse not to move it around.
So, for example, now for the second test against Bangladesh, right, Sabina Park. Do you think, since we had a nice reception in Jamaica, big up, it was very nice, lovely. Sabina is lovely, right? It's iconic. You can't even deny it. It's an absolutely lovely stadium when it's packed for cricket. But do you think if the CWI marketed properly, do you think we are seeing a crowd? Maybe even just for the weekend. Doesn't really matter for the weekdays.
For a test match?
For a test match, maybe?
No.
No, not at all.
No.
Okay, fair enough.
That's too soon. If we can get, I mean, never say never, but I just think what. So we're talking about 5 months from now, 6 months from now.
Yeah, in December.
People in Jamaica. You have to understand that even if West Indies are winning, we're playing Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
Some people wouldn't turn up to see West Indies play Bangladesh if it was 2 minutes away from their house. Respectfully, it's Bangladesh. So I would, don't get me wrong, but I think a lot of people would be like, I'm not wasting my time to watch West Indies versus Bangladesh in a test match. Maybe in a T20, but in a test match, I think that'll be a hard sell.
Probably hard sell. Even then, I think the schedule they have set up for the year is interesting. I like they're moving a bit more, and it's nice to see that some countries like St. Vincent are barely getting any good games in the World Cup. I think they're only getting Papua New Guinea and Uganda, some Super 8 games, and that's about it. Really not that great. So it's nice seeing them getting a couple other games for, even though it's Bangladesh, who knows, right? Just moving around a bit more and giving all the countries more games. That's always nice. I think that's a nice move from Cedar Bright, and I think if they keep going with this new way of marketing their games, the home games, I think we can see some better turnouts. Even though I'm not sure how well we'll do in the World Cup, I suppose I really hope we do well. Who knows, right? I can't predict the future. It's the West Indies, so fair enough, right? Fair enough. Who knows the future when 374 is chaseable, right? It really is unbelievable.
Who knows? Who knows indeed. Listen, Louis, right? I just had a look. There's about 10 people trying to get on the show.
No problem.
They must all think they're going to get on tonight, but that's impossible.
No, no problem, mate.
I'm going to try and get as many of them on as possible, so I'm going to have to move on. Osprey, you're on next. I'm not even going to talk. Osprey, you're on next. Let's move. Yes, Osprey, what are you saying?
Oh, Ash, how I hope everyone is well tonight. Sorry to hear about your sciatica issues. I hope it's not affecting your preparations for your race with Hetty.
I'll be ready in time. Don't worry. By the time Hetty gets here, I'll be ready.
The Guyana test, maybe? But I said, I'm not going to say make any predictions for this World Cup. Mainly because, like I said, similar reasons to you, because there's a lot of other factors going on. But I think the one biggest factor of this World Cup will probably be the weather, like it has been at other tournaments.
Yes,
because this game the IPL has messed this up because like last two World Cups, so the 2007 World Cup was February, March, and then you had the 2010 was April, May, I think, and they've already been shunted in June because of the IPL.
So this is interesting, only because a friend of mine in Guyana messaged me earlier in the week and said, "Why on earth is this World Cup taking place in rainy season?" And I said to him, "Do you know what? I'd forgotten it was rainy season. So we could see a lot of games either truncated or even washouts, and I'm not sure people have really considered that rain could play a serious effect on this World Cup."
Yeah, so like I said, I'm a Scotland fan. I'm as well as a West Indies fan, so I'm used to rain. They're saying we've had Scotland have played 3 tours of the Arabian Gulf in the last 4 years and had matches rained out in each of them, and that's in the Arabian desert. So we'll bring the weather wherever we're going. But like I said, just the fact that the weather can just it's cricket is that probably the sport that's most affected by weather of any sport going out there. And he just says, one rained off match can completely wreck a tournament, or 2 rained off matches, and that's a team out. So, say if India got their matches against Canada and the US washed out, that's 4 easy points that you'd say they get. And then they're struggling to get through to the next round, not because of anything they can do. So it's just that is a big issue this World Cup. And the Super 8s washed out games is effectively a double loss for a lot of teams.
Yeah, if you get a Super 8 game washed out, you're basically out as far as I can work out.
Yeah,
you need like several snookers to get yourself out of that situation.
Yeah, exactly. So it could affect any team at any time. And I'm saying just remember the 2003 World Cup in South Africa, and he said West Indies had their match against Bangladesh rained off. So they were like Bangladesh like 30-2, chasing 245, and that was the match for the tournament where Bangladesh lost to everybody, like lost to Canada, lost to Kenya, and that match cost West Indies Super Six, the Super Six, and probably the semi-finals because of that rain. So it is one of those things that I think could affect it. But having said that, say if you got offered like a rained off match between New Zealand and the West Indies, that match is rained off. Would you take that point at this moment in time, given all you know now, at least what you've seen?
What? But then would that make? It would mean that one of. Hold on. How? So if we took
So like I said, New Zealand, all the other matches get played, but like I said, the New Zealand West Indies game is washed out. Both teams take a point. No effects on the run rate. Would you take that if someone offered to it now?
And then, would that mean we'd have to then beat Afghanistan?
Still have to beat Afghanistan, but you'd have to beat Afghanistan, like just beat more than New Zealand do. Because New Zealand had the same situation. Basically, Afghanistan 2 free shots at it, qualifying, but.
Do you know what? That's a good question. What about? I'm just trying to work out my permutations. What about if would I? A better question is, would I take both the New Zealand and the Afghanistan games being washed out? Yes, I'd take that.
Yeah,
I'd take that. That basically gets us through.
Yeah, because if Papua New Guinea Uganda games get washed out, that's West Indies in a lot of trouble.
Well, yeah, then I wouldn't.
Yeah, so let's just say that like the bigger the team you are, the more it's a problem. These washed out games.
Yeah, 100%. Would I take it? So would I take New Zealand wash out now?
Yeah, or cows on the pitch.
I think you know what? I think I'm gonna say no, right? But hear me out. Why? Because I actually think that everyone's looking at the Afghanistan game and saying, "Oh, it's in St. Lucia, so we can just blast them out." And I'm more afraid of the Afghanistan game than I am of the New Zealand game, if I'm honest with you. If we do genuinely have momentum and what everyone's saying is correct, and we're going into this World Cup full of confidence, I think we play New Zealand first. I'd expect us to beat Papua New Guinea, beat Uganda, be on the vibes, and then beat New Zealand. It's that Afghanistan game where I think Afghanistan will bowl 16 overs of spin minimum against us. That's the game I'm most afraid of.
Yeah, that's it. I agree with that one. I think, like I said, what I would expect if I was not picking the team was, like I said, I'd rotate and use the whole squad for those first in the group stage. So you're picking a different 11 for each game, specifically on the tactics. So I would probably put Shamar Joseph in those games against Uganda and Papua New Guinea, because Uganda and Papua New Guinea don't see, at the associate level, there are very few bowlers who are bowling 150 kph.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, yeah.
So, like I said, you've got those accuracy things. That's it. So and just do things like that and tweak the squad just for that pitch and just for that opposition. And I think that's probably the best way of going for it. But like picking 11, I would say, without seeing at this stage is just it's difficult because you said you've got players that are rusty, you've got players who've been playing a lot of games, and you've got like wild cards like Shamar. So
before I go on to Mr. Brown, who's up next, would you play out of interest? Because actually, I'm going to put this as a question in the chat in a minute. Does Rutherford come back into your team? Yes or no? Or would he come back into your team? Yes or no?
I'm playing for the Uganda game, and then see then, because it's just getting back into match practice. Because I think the question is I think the slight point to the rain affected. I think that says you talk about why there's a bit more optimism about the 20-over format than the 50-over format. I think it's the shorter forms of the game. I'll play. You talk about how he's a leveler, and you're talking in the South Africa review, and I say it's a leveler between West Indies and the top teams, Australia, India, England, but it actually allows. I think it widens the gap between West Indies and some of the associates, because effectively the West Indies have things that players teams haven't seen, but also like it masks some of their weaknesses. Like it seems like they're the death bowling. Like say by ball, rather than like your fifth bowler gets hit for in 50 over cricket, you've got 10 overs who are trying to hide your fifth bowler from getting like licks, but you only have 4 in T20. And if you've got a rain affected match, that reduces your fifth bowler usage even more.
Right. Yeah.
With me. And like you said, a lot of the players like the other batting, it's kind of brittle because a lot of players, get in and then play a done shot or a reckless cricket, hit out, get out, whatever, high risk, high reward, whatever you want to call it. But if that match is in 20 over matches, you can get away with that a lot easier than you can get away with a 50 over match.
Right.
And if the matches are like if these are rain affected matches, the West Indies have got a lot of players who can just do hit out and get out. So it's like a 10 over.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That's
so
true.
like I said, they actually, if it's rain affected, like I said, so if say Uganda, like I said, if they were to beat the West Indies, it's because they bowl the West Indies out for 130 and 15 because all the West Indies players have got themselves out rather than bowled out. And then they just take the whole 20 overs to crawl over the line and win by 1 or 2 wickets. It's not going to be a 10-wicket sweep in Uganda or Papua Guinea. If they were to beat the West Indies, it can do. But like
if you had to predict one of them to beat the West Indies, which one would you go for?
I'd probably say Papua New Guinea because they have a better spin.
No.
Wait. In terms of the
Papua New Guinea. If West Indies lose to Papua New Guinea.
Oh no, in terms of like the whole the whole group. Yeah, I thought you just meant Uganda and Papua.
No, I do mean Papua New Guinea or Uganda. So you're saying there's a greater chance of us losing to Papua New Guinea than Uganda?
I think their spinner options are better. And like I say, Uganda, they've only played in Africa mainly, so they haven't they're not used to definitely not used to playing in the Caribbean. And they said they just like said they're not used to seeing. They've only played they've played Zimbabwe and Namibia and played South Africa at that African Games tournament where they were playing South Africa playing youth sides. So they haven't faced players that can do things like Shamar Joseph or things like Obi McCoy can do with the ball, or batsmen that can just hit from ball one.
Yeah,
like Brandon King's been able to do in the long with. So I think that's it. But Papua New Guinea have had that bit more experience of playing top like full members and top associates that Uganda just haven't had.
Listen, you've given everybody in the live some positivity. We're going to smash Papua New Guinea. We're going to smash Uganda. It's going to rain versus New Zealand, and then we're going to smash Afghanistan.
I think that's how we go positive. But I said it's better than Cricket Scotland's preparations. I'll give you that one.
Listen, I genuinely do need to move on. But did you see today that I think it was Bertus who put up, or somebody read somewhere?
Yeah, Scotland's
Twitter account. What's that about?
No one has any idea. But considering the amount of chaos that Cricket Scotland have been in over the last 2 years, it doesn't surprise me. But I don't know if it's something maybe election, because we've got that England-Scotland game and we've got the UK general elections. They're a bit worried about that. But they've not deleted any of their other social medias. They haven't given an explanation on anything. But yeah, it's a bit strange to do it the week before a major international tournament with an England game in it. And also, it's only a couple of weeks away from the Scottish Schools Cricket Week, which is a big thing for promoting on social media. So I don't understand that at all. But yeah, it's an episode in Scotland on the problems of Scottish cricket in its relation to Caribbean, but tonight is not the night for it. Maybe during because we're in the Women's World Cup, our women's team are in the same group as the West Indies, so maybe something around there might be appropriate.
Yeah, you and I will have to do a show then, because Scotland have become our arch nemesis now.
That's fair. That's fair. I do hope, like I said, one thing is I do hope that England's atrocious record in T20 internationals against European teams continues against Scotland.
Don't worry, we'll all be cheering for Scotland. Don't worry. Yeah,
well, England have played Netherlands twice and Ireland twice, so played 4, and their record is lost 3, tied 1. So we hope to continue that.
No worries, man. Listen, let me move on to the next guest. Thank you for coming on as ever.
Yeah. Have a good night, and hope everyone has a good time in the see you over the World Cup.
No worries. Take care.
Take care.
Right, Mr. Brown, straight over to you. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 people trying to get on, No, this is impossible. Anyways, Mr. Brown, let's move.
Yes, we're back. We're
definitely back.
Yeah. Jamaica is saving West Indies cricket.
Who would have thought it? That all it took was going to Jamaica for West Indies cricket to liven up.
Kingston, we're saving cricket. Lewis was making some good points about the marketing and stuff, and he got me thinking that I think this has to do with hype. I think it's World Cup hype, and also maybe an aspect of showing the Jamaican government that this could be you, but it's not going to be you, type of thing. But I mean, apart from that, I think the IPL is it's screwing us over, to be honest. Even if you think about it, because we're going to play. I just realized that the first game starts on Sunday. I didn't even realize it because it just seems like
that's just our first game. The first game of the World Cup's actually on Saturday. IPL finished what? Yesterday. So
yeah. Few hours. I mean, basically 24 hours ago. So the turnover is what, 6 days, and I mean the critic. I mean, apart from the cricket fatigue and everything, like you mentioned, rightly so, Rutherford has been in form in the last couple of series he's played for the West Indies, but has he really been active in the last 2 months? Has he really been playing? Same thing with Alzari. So even though Alzari is the more senior bowler, does he get into the Papua New Guinea 11? I mean, probably he should. But I mean, I think what the staff is banking on is using the first 2 games against, no disrespect to Papua New Guinea or Uganda, but it's almost like losing those games as also a warm-up to like experiment a bit with the squad and everything. So I figure, I mean, Charles is going to start, obviously, for those 2 games. I'm hoping he's just going to boost the net run rate for those 2, just stack the statistics, so that if there's rain against New Zealand or Afghanistan, we have that in the bag. But when it comes to Rutherford or Hetty, low key, I feel like Hetty gets the nod because he's played more games so far.
Yeah, if they're insistent that the number 6 position has to be a finisher, and that Dre and Shepherd at 7 and 8 are just insurance, then I think there's an argument to say that Hetty has to come in instead of Rutherford simply due to recent game time. And I think that would be a discredit and a disservice to Rutherford, because Rutherford earned his spot. But in any other sport, you wouldn't just bring someone in when they haven't played a game for 2 months, for 2.5 months. Like, and I mean, I don't even know when Rutherford's getting to camp. They only just won the World Cup, so like when would he have flown? When would Dre and Rutherford have flown? Today?
Yeah, have to be.
So
I mean,
there's no straight flight from India to wherever camp is in Jamaica or wherever. Trinidad, I think, is where they're going to go next.
Trinidad, yeah.
They're going to have to go via London,
Dubai, or something.
And then to Trinidad, and then you're going to need a day off just to reacclimatize your body. So are we really saying? Let's just say best case scenario, they left Monday, they get to Trinidad Tuesday, then they can't do anything Wednesday because they have to acclimatize themselves. So are we really going to say they're going to get Thursday, Friday to prep to just come straight into the team on Sunday? Dre might, because he's been playing, but Rutherford?
And when is the warm-up game is Thursday, is it?
Oh yeah, the warm-up game's Thursday. Yeah, I forgot about that as well. So they're not playing that, surely not.
But they have to, though, isn't it? Especially Rutherford.
I mean, if he's playing it, his body's not going to be. But then again, maybe there's another argument that says these players are so used to flying from one down bad league to the next down bad league and just playing straight off the plane that maybe he can do that.
Yeah, fair enough. But they're still human at the end of the day, and there's no way you're telling me you're going to be 100% after doing all that travel. I mean, not even for a series that they do these things, and this is a World Cup that we're preparing for. And I think when it comes to that, and also, I mean, it's Sunday, it's a weekend at Providence. I think it stands to argue that maybe Hetty has a chance of starting.
Oh, of course. Yeah, but remember, Rutherford is Guyanese as well. But then obviously the Guyanese will riot if Hetty don't play. So So yeah, there's an argument to say Hetty gets the game in front of his home crowd.
Yeah. And the other thing is, do you think Chase gets in ahead of Hope, or do they both play in the 11?
Okay, so my argument is this. In Guyana and Trinidad, it makes sense that we play 3 spinners. It just makes sense. So for me, that means Chase has to play no matter what.
Chase, Akil, Motie.
Yeah, so Akil, Motie, and Chase, right? For the guy, you may not do it for St. Lucia, but I'd do it for Guyana and Trinidad. Now, the question then is, if Chase definitely has to play, in my mind, it doesn't even have to be Hope. It's just who misses out for Chase. That's the bigger question for me. That's all. That's what needs to be answered for me. It could, like I said today, it could be Rutherford. It could be Rutherford. Yeah. And particularly against, with respect to them, in fact, with no respect to them, PNG and Uganda. Like, do we really need Rutherford to play against them? You mean to tell me that we can't make enough runs with Chase and Hope in the team? But do we really need 4 finishers against PNG and Uganda?
I don't think it's a matter of needing extra finishers for PNG and Uganda. I think it's warm-up Rutherford because he's undercooked. You know, so it's a tricky situation that we found ourselves in. And
let me put it back on you though. Does Chase should Chase be in the starting 11? Forget who for, just should he be in it?
Yeah, I reckon for the first 2 games. I mean, the games in Guyana.
So I think that the majority of fans around the Caribbean and media would say Chase surely gets a game. The question mark everyone's got to answer is just who is he getting that game for? That's what nobody knows.
True. That's true. And I mean, there's another argument to say that Hope played, I think the last 2 seasons or 3 seasons it was based in Guyana.
There's that as well. Yes, good point. Yeah, he was other than, was he the top run scorer last year? Or was it Ayub? Him or Ayub was the top run scorer in CPL last year. So
one of these years.
There's Hope's familiarity with Providence, which means Hope should probably play as well. So I don't know.
And Hope's form has been decent in the IPL this year. Yeah, so I mean, the other thing that I was thinking about that I could have a definitive answer is McCoy. You know, does McCoy sneak into the 11 on Sunday, given his variations?
No, so I agree with Osprey on this. McCoy, if he's playing, has to play for me again. He has to play, St. Lucia 100%. I would put McCoy in the games against the better teams. Against Uganda and PNG, I do think that you can tell Shamar Joseph just bowl fast and be hostile because them 2 teams ain't seen somebody bowl 90 miles an hour every single ball. Yeah. So I get why Shamar should play the first 2 games. And if Shamar plays the first 2 games, I don't see how Obed gets in the team. We actually have a lot of options and choices here.
Yeah, that's so. Does that mean Alzari gets into the first game? Given
I guess Alzari's just playing just because he's the senior bowler and he's the go-to. He's still the go-to guy, whether people like it or not. He's still the guy that Rovman would turn to in the middle overs as a quick bowler and say, "Can you go and get me a wicket?" It would still be Alzari over anybody else. So I don't see Alzari's spot being in jeopardy unless he's injured or carrying an injury.
Yeah, and I mean, it's and then consider the fact that we're going to England, right? So from the IPL to the World Cup to England, you know, Alzari is going to be cooked.
Absolutely, absolutely cooked.
You know, all this travel, you know, it's been mad. But I mean, the final thing I'll end on is that I'm kind of happy that Obed found his way into the squad. Convenient injury for Holder. You know, and I don't know what happened behind the scenes there, but I believe that as that. But his variations, I think, are very valuable. And I think even though it's harsh on Holder, but like what he adds with the bat, we could have other batsmen who are better at that skill set towards the tail end of the innings there with the bat.
Yeah, 100%. I think Holder for me was never getting in the first 11 anyway. So The only issue with Holder being out is that if Dre or Shepherd was to get injured, there's no obvious replacement now that Holder's not around. Not that Holder can bat like those two, but there's just no obvious all-round replacement. But Holder was never in my first 11. And arguably Obed offers whatever Holder offers with the ball, Obed replaces that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
So
even better, more variations.
Holder's loss is more for me about the level of experience he brings to the dressing room, more than but would he have started and so on and so forth. It's more an experience thing for me.
Yeah, but at least he gets time to rest and recover for England.
Yeah, at least he won't be cooked for England. So
surely we need him at 100 in England.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyways, before I go, I'm gonna deliver this to Jav. This is some oil. So, if you know, he will need to, because he's gonna need this a lot for this week because we have a long month coming up.
I swear he had a comment. I see you had a comment in here, so there's for those of you who don't understand why there's some sunflower oil for Jav. This boy Jav here is adamant that somebody needs to get oiled up for West Indies to win the World Cup. I don't know who he's oiling up. I don't know what's going on and why he wants to oil people up. But we're going to deliver some sunflower oil to Mr. Javid Prem very, very soon. Listen, Mr. Brown, let me move to the next guest.
Yeah, have a good night. Good luck with the back.
Yeah. Right, how many we got left? We got 4 people left. Oh my God. Okay. Oil them up. Right. Let's go to Jacob. Yes, Jacob, how you doing?
Hello, Mash. Random American back. First of all, I lost my train of thought. Never mind. First of all, you stole my point about Afghanistan being the game that I would really worry about. I think West Indies matches pretty well against New Zealand, their skills, and West Indies and wrist spin in general. I'm not comfortable against that. That does worry me a bit, and so yeah, I don't think that match should be taken lightly. In particular, and West Indies also haven't played Afghanistan since 2021, and only a single match then. They don't actually have a whole lot of experience.
What was that? Was that a T20?
I think, yeah, in T20s, and in fact in any format, I think that might have only been a group, a warm-up game even. Let me get this up. West Indies versus Afghanistan. It's been a long time.
Was that in the Caribbean? I'm trying to remember the game. Or was it a warm-up game before?
Yeah, the last time was the warm-up match for the 2021 World Cup. Actually,
did we lose that one?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, yeah.
And then before that, it was the Test match in 2019, and then a T20 series in 2019, which West Indies also lost.
Yeah.
So there's not a whole lot to go off on. So Afghan players will also be kind of inexperienced against the West Indies, but but yeah, there's actually not a whole lot to judge about how they'll go together. I guess you'd have to go to IPL performances and stuff like that. So I do worry about that. And I also agree that I don't think Jason Holder is a great T20 player anymore. He's okay, but he doesn't offer a lot with the bats in T20s. I think his record is he has a strike rate of 129 at an average of 16. He's not offering a whole lot.
Yeah, he's not amazing, but if you look at Holder's stats at home, he's not a bad T20 player. He's just not world class. So I think what a lot of West Indian fans tend to believe is that because he's not in the world class bracket, I think people tend to underplay his skill set. But he's passable in terms of all rounders. He can play a role, but I'd say he's probably more effective with the ball than he is with the back. But in the makeup of the squad we have, he wasn't never. I never had him as a first choice. Put it that way.
Yeah, I don't think he was ever gonna be a first choice, and I do think I think if I were Afghanistan, I'd probably be less comfortable facing Obed McCoy. I don't even I wouldn't even say like I'm confident he's a significantly better T20 bowler than Jason Holder, but I do think he kind of offers more that a lot of the not great Afghan batters would struggle with. His variations, his left arm angle, all those things. So if I were Afghanistan, I think I'd rather face Jason Holder. So yeah, there's that. That was mostly my main points.
Do you know what I would just add as well, which I think people are forgetting about Afghanistan, is as much as we can talk about the trial by spin that they're obviously going to inflict on us, everyone forgets that Afghanistan's approach to batting is to go from ball one. So it's feasible that they could put us under scoreboard pressure. If they bat first, it is feasible that Afghanistan could easily put 180 plus on the board, for example. And then the trial by spin becomes a serious problem if they get a chance to bat first. If we bat first, then maybe it's a different game altogether.
And their seam attack is passable
it's definitely possible.
It's not a bad seam attack, and it's getting better.
The only reason I don't mention their seam attack is because I just know how weak we are versus spin. So I just don't I just don't really talk about their seam attack.
Like Afghanistan's main problem is batting depth. They have Ibrahim Zadran, I think, is a very good batter. Gurbaz, good batter. And I like their aggressive approach in T20s. It's just they don't have a whole lot of depth. Like if you get early wickets, it's very hard for them to come back. Sorry about my dog barking in the background. So I do worry, and I'm also just not impressed by New Zealand's T20 team that much. I don't think it's a particularly great side. But they always do this. New Zealand always hoodwink me. They come out with these teams I just think are not good limited overs teams, and then they magically get into the final, the semifinals every time.
This is the thing, and this is why nobody should be underestimating New Zealand, because I feel like New Zealand going to every tournament with people be looking at their team going, yeah, they're all right, and then they find a way to get to the final four. So it's going, like I say, it is not a easy group that West Indies have to navigate just to get to the Super 8. So, and the problem we've got as well, Jacob, is that because we don't play one of the top two in the group or the better two teams in the first two games, we'll have the complacency of smashing PNG and smashing Uganda without any real test, and then have to suddenly up the ante against teams that actually are competitive. So it's going to be really, really, we better hope that our net run rate by the time we turn up to play New Zealand and Afghanistan is already through the roof, in essence.
Yeah, I think that's really what the focus for Uganda and PNG should be, just burying them a bit, smash them out of the park, get that net run rate up, get some confidence, and feel like you have stuff to play for if there's rain or whatever. They have a bit of a cushion. And also I just like Obed McCoy. I like Obed McCoy being in the squad. I think he's a bowler I love to watch. He's just really fun to watch, in my opinion. I love all the I know left arm tall variations. You love it. You gotta love it.
You got to love it. Listen, Jacob, I've got 3 more people to get through. Any last points?
I don't have any last points. I want to say a word for my man Obed. I want to say Afghanistan kind of scares me.
Listen, you held on a long time, so I'm glad you finally got to go on. Let me try and get the last 3, and then maybe the show will come to an end. All right, take care, bro. Right, we got Josh on next. Right, we got Josh, then we got the big guy, and then we got the Trini werewolf. Right, so let's bring on Josh. Josh, you ready? You're on next. It's just as well there's no work tomorrow, I said 1 hour. We've already gone 24 minutes over. Got 24 minutes over. Oh my God. Out here doing radio show. Who sent me an email? Like, subscribe, all of that. Like up the channel. Where are we? Sorry, people, I've lost some. I don't know what I'm doing right now. Like up the channel, like, share, subscribe. What's the like saying, people? I haven't even looked. Like, share, subscribe. What else do we need to do? Follow Caribbean Cricket Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Patreon, Facebook, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.com, etc. Like it up, people. Like it up. Sports City is in the chat. Now, Sports City people is Simon Preston. Big up Simon Preston. The one and the only person you need to follow when it comes to Reggae Boys news. Big up the Reggae Boys. World Cup's going on, but Jamaica have actually got some World Cup qualifiers coming up as well. Reggae Boys got World Cup qualifiers. In fact, when we play Uganda on the 9th, I swear Jamaica are playing Dominica on that day as well. In the World Cup. Is it World Cup? Is it Nations League? Simon, is it World Cup? It's World Cup qualifiers, isn't it? So yeah. Anyways, Sports City people, go follow Sports City, go follow Reggae Boys commentary. Anybody who's a big football fan, particularly the Reggae Boys, go follow. Make sure you follow Sports City, Simon Preston, Reggae Boys commentary each and every time. Right, let's bring Josh on. Yes, Josh, how you doing?
Wagwan, Mash.
Yeah, Wagwan.
Good, man, good. Well, I need to correct you. You keep saying tic-tac. It's tick-tock.
No, it's a joke, right? So Santoki called it Tic Tac by accident, and now I refuse to call it anything else.
Oh God, I can't. I give up with you guys. I give up. Oh man. But before I go, how are you doing? You all right?
I'm good. What's that show? Is that the Night Riders?
Yes, it is the Night Rider. That is it. So the background behind that actually is my family is half Jamaican, half Trini. So I have a bit of both in my life. So and ironically, so I'll tell you guys this one for free, right? I used to play both football and cricket, and I always told people, right? And I knew I'm gonna get crucified for this. So I know the knives are already out. If the offers were on the table, I would have played cricket for Trinidad and I'll play football for Jamaica. Only reason being is because there is something about playing cricket in Trinidad that feels special, and and I feel like cricket is taken more seriously in Trinidad than in Jamaica. But in the other way around, football, I feel like football is taken way more serious in Jamaica, and there's a bit more pride and love about football in Jamaica than cricket. So that's what I would have done.
As Attaché said when he came on last week, JPL is popping off. I've never seen JPL so hype in all my years. I've never seen JPL this hype in all my life.
No, I know that. I see it all the time. I know the people who work in the marketing team. I know that. I'm not surprised. I just want to talk on a couple points. I know you trying to jump off. Cricket on the weekend. I was at all the games. It was vibes. I hear a lot of love from the people. You know what I heard a lot, and I know this might make you happy. A lot of newcomers. Yeah, I remember I spoke to someone. Josh, I've never watched cricket in my life, but seeing West Indies win, I feel like a winner already. Like I want to follow this team.
What do you think made people come out for the game?
I'm going to share something interesting here. The Mound section was operated by, I can't remember who, but a good friend of mine was promoting it. His name is Keanu. And very popular. He's pretty popular among the entertainment scene. He's always out, you know what I mean? So what they actually have done is they got people who are really good on the entertainment scene here in Jamaica to take the Mound, and then Attaché to manage the fan zone section. And so the way they marketed it was they really tried to push it as an event more than a match. Do you see what I'm saying? They push this more like a gathering, like an event, almost like a party, but more like a social, this link up kind of vibe. You know what I mean? So that was the focus of the marketing, rather than say, we have a cricket match here, let's go to the cricket match. And I think that if they do it that way, it would draw more people. And I think that's what they did a lot. Now, don't get me wrong, there were a lot of foreigners, a lot of people who want to watch cricket went to the game. But especially in the Mound, I was in the Mound yesterday, and there was a lot of people who don't follow cricket, never have, and literally was like, yo, Josh, I ain't gonna lie, I feel like a winner following a team that wins. And I didn't want to say too much about West Indies. All right, welcome to the West Indies. Welcome, because I didn't want to indoctrinate them to these 25 years of misery that we've all grown up on. You know what I mean? So what you saw a lot, Mash, was a bit of family affair, a bit of let's link up and have a day of it type of vibe, more than let me go and watch a cricket match. Don't get me wrong, there were a large proportion of people that were there to watch a cricket match. You know what I mean? So I think the marketing went good. I'm very happy for my people who were involved. I'm really cool with most of the guys that were involved. And I like the strategy that was used. I think you were right about the test match. Oh, and by the way, another complaint I got was, why aren't these games in the night? That I got
so do you know what? So that was the one thing that surprised me. So I think all 3 games started at 2 p.m. Jamaica time.
Yes, correct.
And in fact, for the final game, or was it Saturday's game? I can't remember which one. It was Saturday, in fact. When the match started, I could see everybody in the George Headley stand way at the back of the stand, because sun must have been hot. So everybody was under the shade, and I was thinking 2 p.m. that's a difficult time to start a match in Jamaica. Now, sun is burning down on people, but it must be for TV audience.
No, it was. What time is it in South Africa at 2 p.m.? Or do people care about that part?
It was 8 o'clock in the UK, and I think South Africa is 2 hours ahead of the UK, or maybe 1 hour. Maybe I've got. Is it 2 hours or 1 hour? I can't remember.
If it's 2, it's 10. So
yeah, so
that's somewhat prime time in England, basically.
There was no other option to do it later. Put it that way.
You see, this is the part about being in the Caribbean. It comes with the weather, but then the time zone thing is a bit messed up, and that leads perfect into my next point. I'm not gonna lie. I think ICC messed up this World Cup in terms of an organization tournament planning point of view. It just looks. I don't. Something about it just feels wrong. The time of the year, how congested the fixtures is, the time that the games are being played, and the travel plans. It looks a mess. I don't even know what to think.
Do you know what happened? They clearly planned IPL first, then just tried to fit the World Cup in afterwards. And what I didn't even notice until I only did it today. Today was the first day I actually looked at the timings of the World Cup games, and 3 of the West Indies games start at 1:30 in the morning UK time. So I don't even know. I don't even know how I'm watching those games, to be honest. So it's an interesting. I think they planned the World Cup after they planned IPL, and then I think when they planned the World Cup, the first thing they thought about was, what do we do for the big teams, of which West Indies wasn't one of them? What do we do for the big teams, as in what time zones and where do we put them to maximize what they want? That's England and India first and foremost for the English audience. That's why England are obviously playing in Barbados and so on and so forth. India obviously have got the game against Pakistan in the USA. What a surprise. So there's clearly, this was all set up around a kind of rank order of fitting the best times and schedules for some teams. Some teams are more equal than others, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but not only that, Mash. You mentioned it earlier. Bloody rain season, mate. Wait, Mash, listen. I'm gonna tell you this for free, right? If I had all the money in the world, I'll put about 10 million US dollars, right? That at least 5 games. I'll go as far as, yeah, I'll probably go 5, maybe 3 games to be watched out. I'll probably go 5. I wouldn't be surprised, and especially, there's one thing about Trinidad you need to know, Mash. Trinidad has a way of, you can walk outside and you can see big bad bright sunshine, and you walk, so from the door to your car is big bad sunshine. You go in your car and you drive out, rainfall out of nowhere. That is Trinidad for you, and that's Guyana for you. Jamaica is not so bad, because with Jamaica you can almost tell and forecast a lot easier. But when you go down to like Barbados, Trinidad, Guyana, the weather is a lot more unpredictable. And I did some research. Usually the rain generally comes in the middle of June. So that 9 to that 20 window.
Yeah.
We're getting rain.
Well, do you know what? So Simon's just put it in the chat. This was the other thing I meant to say earlier on. It's hurricane season. It's not even that it's just rainy season. It's hurricane season as well.
Yeah.
A couple international teams better hope they don't get blown away, you know.
Oh God. No, Mash. No, but it's a real thing. Like, it doesn't look right. Something. Yo, Mash, I won't be surprised if you see a post-mortem, post-World Cup, and somebody comes out and says something. There's always somebody on the inside going to say something. Because I am pretty sure. I am pretty sure that the people in at Cricket West Indies was either or trying to push for, hear me out, the World Cup to either or be in March or in October. One of the two.
Which would have made more sense.
March or October. And the reason why the World Cup couldn't happen I think the reason why they couldn't do it in March or October is because if they're having this thing alongside the USA, New York is pretty cold.
Right, of course, yeah.
Texas is fairly cool at that time. So I think that made sense from that point of view. But if you didn't want to do that, then do it a little later down in here, like July, like August. You know what I mean? But then again, you know what? Screw it. It's the Caribbean. Like, it's the time of year when you're gonna get rain. Like, you can't plan for these things anymore. You know what I mean? Now, I want to ask you a key question, Mash. And this is just away from cricket. This is a general life question, right? You might intertwine with cricket. Do you see any time in the future, given climate change and the whole weather thing and everything, that both cricket and sports in general, they get to a point where they're going to say we can't play games during a certain time of the day due to heat and weather? So games won't really be played around that midday region, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe that 12, 1, 2, 3 region and our later game. Do you think that ever will happen, or no, that's off the cards? They don't care. And the reason why I asked that was, I'm in the crowd yesterday, and a lot of people are complaining about the games at 2 o'clock. It's hot. And they're complaining why we don't have no night game. They're happy to come out. And somebody even said if it was a night game, the crowd would have been bigger.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, climate change is obviously real. I think there was that World Cup was it the Dubai one in 2021 where people were complaining about the heat and the conditions they were playing within. I think there was discussions about we need to play or they wanted to play in like retractable roof stadiums or something like that, and so on and so forth. Listen, climate change is going to change a whole bunch of things for all sports going forward. I think even before we talk about whether climate change will change things, part of that conversation is, what does Test cricket even look like 20 years from now? Does it still does it still look the same? And if it does, who's playing it? And maybe at some point in the future, they might even say that Test cricket is a game that starts in the early afternoon and finishes at night. Do you see what I mean?
I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, I can see that one. And in fact, if that's the case, that would be more of a test, because it would mean you have the evening conditions and in the late night. That's a very challenging thing to play with, you know. I actually think that would make it more of a test match. And by the way, I think people will come out for that night games, late evening after work. I actually think I can see cricket going more in that direction. It becomes more of a night sport than a day sport. Do you understand? You see what I'm saying?
I can totally see how people would be more willing to come to a test match in the Caribbean if it was an after work thing to go to.
Yeah, I can see. I can see.
But we shall see.
The last thing, because I know you want to talk to a couple more people, is I think I messaged you. I don't think Jason is injured. Now, if you have news, you can confirm that to me. But I feel like Cricket West Indies were put under pressure to figure out how to get Obed McCoy in. And I just have it's my gut feeling that Jason was the fall guy. Do you think I'm right, or am I just being cynical, or am I just going over the top? And yes, Shamar Joseph will play the first 2 games. I do think he needs to. I don't think he's as bad as some people are making him out to be, but I do think you can tell he's a test match bowler. You can tell. And it's going to take time for him to figure it out. So that's what I want to say, and I'll leave it at that. Well, what's your thoughts on the Obed McCoy thing?
Just the Jason one. So I'll just quickly end with the Jason one. I think I get it. I get why you're making that argument, and maybe there is some truth in it. I don't know. But what I would say is I find it very unlikely that Jason would miss his last home World Cup. We're not getting another one in his career. Right. I find it very unlikely that he would miss a home World Cup.
Okay, true.
If he could help it. Like, if there was any chance of him being able to play in a home World Cup, I just feel like, given what Jason's given to West Indies cricket, that he wouldn't want to miss this. But, who knows? Remember, there's never a dull day in West Indies cricket. Anything is possible.
Listen, one of my friends messaged me like, yo, Charles, this is something weird with that. And it came out of nowhere. And surprise, Obed comes to Jamaica, takes 3 wickets, and the next day he's in the squad. I mean, he was taking wickets in Nepal. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Anyways, I know you have to get some people. I have some other points that I want to talk about. I know you have to move on. So I'm going to let you go, all right?
Listen, there'll be a show after the first game on Sunday, so I'll see you then.
All right, man. You take care. Be good.
All right, then. No problem. Take care. Right. 2 more people. 2 more. The big guy is on next. Let's just go straight into it, because that way we can maybe get to the end. Yes, the big guy. Wait, what? The big guy? Hello? The big guy's just on mute. Big guy don't want to talk out here. Big guy, I'm giving you 10 seconds. Otherwise, I'm about to take you off. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. What the? Big guy took himself off. I didn't even get to kick him off. Big guy just said, nope, not me, not today. Right, last person on the show then is the Trini Werewolf. Who is this? Trini Werewolf, what are you saying?
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing very well.
Nice. I'll try and keep it shorter, but okay. I wanted to ask this last week, and I feel like after seeing the South Africa series, it'll be easier to ask. Now, we saw Shamar do good in at least 2 of the games. There's only one bad game he had, and then again, it was against a teammate he just had. But do you think that even if he does all right in the World Cup, that they might try and push him to be an all-format bowler, even though he's not ready yet?
As in, so when you say all format, so after the World Cup, you mean going forward?
Yeah, like for example, we might see his name pop up in I believe it's the England ODIs.
Right. Okay. So I was thinking about it's a good question, because I was thinking about this the other day. The answer to your question ultimately, I think, is yes. The bigger question is, should they be doing that or not? Because if they do that, which is what Alzari is, it would mean that we're not. It would mean that he would burn out pretty quickly. I guess, because ultimately we'd be playing him in every single game that the West Indies can play him in. But then his skill set is such that maybe he should be playing all formats of cricket. What's your view on it?
For that, I kind of agree. But I think it's still so soon. We should probably at least see how he does in the World Cup. And then maybe, for me, I was considering maybe against Bangladesh. Because I feel like that'll be an easier way to, an easier warm-up for him in that sense. To get into a next format.
Right, okay. Yeah, I mean, do we have ODIs against Bangladesh? I can't even remember. I can't remember who we've got, or I know we've got England 3 tests, South Africa 2 tests and some T20s, so maybe 3 T20s, and then Bangladesh. I can't remember if we've got. I don't know what the Bangladesh tour is. Definitely some test matches.
Okay.
What else comes after that? But the problem is, and the reason why he's going to have to play ODIs is, remember, we've got to try and qualify for the 2027 World Cup, and we already have bowling issues in that format of cricket. We've already got a problem there. So I just feel like they've got to try him in ODIs, whether we like it or whether we don't.
That's fair. Because I think they only had 2 people listed as being prepared for it. I think it was just Cartier and Atanaz. So I feel like we would need more than that, or at least maybe 2 more people.
Yeah. Let me check something whilst you're still there. 1 second.
Okay.
Who was the last team he played? Oh, England, right? So West Indies. Let me just check who our last ODI. I think Matthew Ford was part of that, if I remember rightly.
I believe so.
Right. So our last.
I think it was man of the match for the last one.
Yes. So our last. Okay. Let me give you this as an example. Our last ODI squad was the ODI series against England, which we. What was the score in that? We won that 2-1, right? Our fast bowlers in that series were Alzari Joseph, Matthew Ford, O'Shane Thomas, Romario Shepherd. So I can foresee a situation where they would drop O'Shane Thomas and bring in Shamar Joseph. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So
I feel like an extreme alternative would be to just swap Alzari and Shamar in case one just needs the rest.
Yeah, true. That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. That's a very good point that they could just do that instead. But yeah, your wider point though I think is correct, which is that even if we do push him in, the worry is that we could end up in a situation where whenever West Indies are playing, Shamar Joseph is playing regardless. And given that he'll be wanted around the world in T20 franchise leagues as well, there's just a worry that we see what happens to fast bowlers when you over bowl them and don't manage their workload. Yeah. It's quicker for them to break down, and there would be that worry.
Yeah. Best case scenario, we could end up with a Trent Bolt or a Bumrah, or worst case, we'll probably end up with an Archer, where who knows how long it would have taken him to come back.
Good point. But we'll see. Luckily, we don't have ODI cricket for a while, so we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. But ultimately, I would expect him to be named whenever our next ODI series is. I would expect to see his name there.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I just had one more small thing. What do you think would be the first challenge the new selectors would have whenever they get picked?
So I think the England team squad has already been picked, and that Desmond Haynes will have picked that with Andre Coley. So the next squad to be picked will then be South Africa. So the first challenge selectors, let's just talk Test cricket because that'll be the next squad that has to be picked. The biggest challenge they will have in the first instance will be this is my opinion, because they've gone all in on Athanaze, Mackenzie, and now Mikhail Louis, who's going to go to England. Okay. You could even throw in Hodge in there as well, because they've gone all in on these youngsters in particular. Kavem's not young, but because they've gone all in on them, The biggest challenger the first challenger selector will face is, when do you take a youngster out of the firing line when the previous selector has made such a kind of big song and dance about trusting in the youth and trying to develop them? It is inevitable that one of Mackenzie Athanaze or Machel Louis is likely to come unstuck in Test cricket in the near future, just because that's how it works, right? So the new selector, when will they be brave enough to take a youngster out of the firing line? And then on top of that, will they be brave enough to bring someone into the Test squad who doesn't necessarily have lots of recent red ball cricket behind them?
Try to. Like, I feel like it might be kind of hard for a selector to just come in and say, "Oh, we'll drop so and so."
Exactly.
In favor of that.
It's that classic thing of like when a new quote unquote manager comes in, how much do you keep the faith in those players that went before you, and how much do you show that you're a new breath of fresh air, if that's the right phrase to use, and bring in your own set of players? Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So that is going to be very interesting to see how they navigate that.
Okay. I feel like Bangladesh might be a good opportunity to just throw in some people.
That's what I would do. So I wouldn't necessarily do it for South Africa. I might stick rather than twist for South Africa, but knowing that Bangladesh are coming up at the end of the year, if there is anybody that the new selectors want to try, and I'm thinking of someone like Brandon King, that's when I would be doing it. I'd wait till Bangladesh and say, right, we're going to try and look at some new faces.
Okay. I can see that.
Anywho, listen, Trini Werewolf, your debut on the show. Thank you so much for coming on.
Okay.
And thank you for waiting for so long.
Not a problem. Last thing before I go, I just want to say, if it's late November or December and we see Haley Matthews listed in any squad, we know who the selector is.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And on the other side, if we see Jimbo, Cornwall, Rakatak, whoever in the top 3, then you know someone else got picked.
I hear you. Anyway, listen, I'm gonna bring the show to an end. Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
And have a good night too.
Yeah, same to you. Take care. Right, people. What did I say when I started the show? I said 1 hour and no more. I'm looking at the time. It says 1 hour and 52 minutes. Jason Humphrey says, Caribbean Cricket Podcast, do you see this? I mean, I see this message, but what do you mean by that? Brian Red says, no money until the journalism improves. Ah, boy. Listen, Brian Red. Let me tell you something. Actually, let me just close my mouth, man. Let me just close my mouth and let me just settle. You know, because true say it's late. True say it's really late out here. Yes, people. That's the end of the show. That's the end of the show. All of the UK audience have gone to bed because it's midnight, which must mean it's only the Caribbean or American audience that is still awake for the live show. Yes. What have we got coming up this week? Let me look at my CCP diary. So tomorrow I'm going on a podcast with Kieran Powell tomorrow. Actually, Kieran Powell's got his own podcast, so we're recording something tomorrow. I'll put the link out once it's recorded and it's out. I'll let people know. I'll put the link out for that, and you can go listen to that. He messaged me today and was like, "Can you come on the show?" I was like, "All right, cool." So that's happening tomorrow. West Indies versus Australia on Thursday in the warm-up game. West Indies versus Papua New Guinea on Sunday in our first game of the World Cup. World Cup starts on Saturday. So quite a lot going on. So look out for all of that coming up this week, people. Jamandi says, what time did the show start? It started at, depends what country you're in, but Barbados time, Eastern Caribbean time, it started at 5 It started at 5:30, so it must be coming up to 7:30 Eastern Caribbean right now. So yeah, that's when it started. Big up Stephen Roach, who's still here in Slough. Stephen, yes, makes sense. Yeah, you just lost John Goddard. He's just signed for Boreham Wood. Interesting. I think he wanted some full-time football. That's why he's probably left Slough. For those of you listening to that, going, what are you talking about? I'm a football fan out here. Right, people, let me end this. Follow the Caribbean Cricket Podcast at Carib Cricket on X, Instagram, Caribbean Cricket Podcast on Facebook, TikTok, Carib Cricket on TikTok, Patreon, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Like the video, share the video, subscribe. If you want to support, like Brian Red, go to www.patreon.com/Carib Cricket. You can support there as well. And yeah, people, I think that's it for the live show. That's it. We'll be back next Monday. Yeah, we'll be back next Monday. We're doing a live show on the Sunday after the PNG game. So probably tune in for that as well. Santoki and I will record something on that Sunday as well. Listen, I'm out, people. I'm out. You can tell in my voice that I'm just tired out here. Thanks for joining me as ever. Like the video on your way out. Share it with your friends. And I'll see you soon.
We rule the cricket world. Now the rule seems coming.
Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans.